What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul with Liberty Hill Comics, episode 69.
69. He said 69.
Comic Book Conservators. I got Dr. Shelby with me in the house. We got a great show for you. We're going to have a lot of fun. Welcome, everyone. Shelby, how you doing, my man?
Oh, buddy. You know, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear.
It looks like somebody came in and wiped out your studio.
Yeah, you know, we're in the process of moving, so got a lot already over there. Got to get to this closet over here to find the boxes for these few remaining statues that are around, and then that'll be pretty much it for this room.
Wow, exciting. Do you want to tell folks about what you've been up to?
I mean, that's kind of it for about the past month. Just been moving everything into a warehouse, you know, as everybody knows. If not, you know, I've been unemployed for a while and having to sell Casa de Shelby. And yeah, but it's going to be good. You know, got a couple of prospects coming this past week, and probably moving or will be moving back to Louisiana and be closer to my family and all that. So, you know, it's just one of those things, pain in the ass. And, you know, I'll have stuff in a warehouse in Houston and stuff in Louisiana for a while until I can get my life arranged. But yeah. And I'm ready to get settled again, man. I'm looking at all the great stuff people are doing over here on our channel. Man, yeah. Don Carter's been killing it with a lot of good stuff. Yeah. Jason, he's even showing up over on other shows and stuff. And I like Lettuce Comics. That kid, I watched him when he first started. So I still need to go and watch that video. If Jason, I don't see Jason in here yet, but yep. And I talked to Peter a little bit yesterday and stuff about some of his recent work, and he said he couldn't make it tonight because he had guests coming in, but that if we had anything come up on the question and answers, he said I could speak for him. So
yeah. I got a sneak peek of what he's got coming up on his channel. It's pretty exciting. And Larry's been pushing stuff out again too.
I've not got caught up with Larry's stuff, but yeah, he's pushing out some good stuff. Someone posted about they finally found like all the pieces to, and the comic escapes me now what it is, but man, that looks like that's going to be a good project. So real excited. And Collecting Chaos, he just dropped some video of his leaf casting, and someone just did I think it's a Spider-Man or something like that started out like a 2.0 or something and got conserved 7.0. Man. No, it wasn't. It was a showcase. First Adam in showcase.
Oh yeah, that's a nice book. 34. Nice.
Yeah, it'd have to be the one where he's on the bottle.
Yeah, jumping out of the bottle or jumping into the bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, speaking of collecting chaos,
great.
Let's take a moment to say thank you to Salesboy Comics, Collecting Chaos, and Don Carter. They are your sponsors for this episode. If you are watching this episode live, you are watching it ad-free, thanks to those three gentlemen. So give them a round of applause, please. My
leaf casting still looks like toilet paper, Collecting Chaos. You would think that someone just took like wet toilet paper and threw it down on top of a comic book.
It is blowing up though, our corner of the hobby. It's great to see.
It
our
is.
Normal co-hosts, Larry and Phil.
We fired them.
They just both have obligations tonight, so they're fine. No worries.
And I don't think there was a show last week, was it?
No, we had I was busy actually dropping my youngest daughter off at college, and they were both busy as well. Summer can get a little tough, and I know, viewership is a little bit down in the summer too, because who wants to be stuck inside, on a
Who
nice
wants to
day?
watch these old guys?
Exactly right.
Talk
But
about funny books.
we'll get.
Collecting was saying he's sorry he missed last week, and I was letting him know that he didn't miss a thing. So
You didn't miss a damn thing.
Okay.
But I expect them back next week. And as I said, they're both fine. Sometimes friends and family get in the way of, oh my goodness.
Oops.
Oh, we lost your camera. Sometimes, you have obligations for friends and family, and we accept that. We really frown on people letting work get in the way. So that's a no-no, but friends and family, we understand.
Yeah.
Speaking of our friends and family, let's say hi to everybody. And I just noticed the aforementioned Jason over at Archivist Adrift just gave us a super chat. Thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate it, my man. And really appreciate what you're doing on your channel. It's just great to see this hobby grow. So Rom Space Knight is here. That's my buddy Mike, Collecting Chaos, who we've already mentioned, and check out his channel. AG is here. Welcome, AG. Don Carter is here. Welcome, Don, again. Thank you for sponsoring. You Pluck My Last Nerve says, how's it hanging? It's hanging pretty well. I'm not going to lie. Rick Gomez is here. Good evening. And You Pluck My Last Nerve. Thank you. $5 super chat, and Collecting Chaos, $20 super chat. Normally, August in Texas is the time you want to be indoors. So true, but I will tell you, KK, we have had not a bad summer at all.
The evenings have been nice. I've been sitting outside enjoying the evenings with my neighbor across the street, and the evenings have been really nice. I'm assuming you can still hear me even if my camera.
We can hear you. Yeah, it really hasn't been that bad. I mean, obviously, all the rains coming all at once took a heavy toll on some people in terms of even took some lives. But we needed water, and we got the water, and I think all of that water is keeping the land cooler, and so it's been not really it's been uncharacteristically temperate, at least here in Central Texas. What's up, Jack?
It's been a little tough in the later afternoons, trust me, because I've been moving, so what I've been doing is kind of mixing it up, like packing in the evenings and first thing in the morning at 7, moving some stuff before it gets hot, and then I'll move some things late in the afternoon. So, but yeah, overall for Texas, it's not been bad.
Yep. So Jason's apparently in the middle of a project. He says, sorry, he's mid-leaf casting. That's so awesome.
And Jason, I don't know if he was in here earlier and I gave you a shout out. I saw you were on lettuce and
yes, and I'm calling Jason out on this. I invited Jason to be on this channel. He said he made a vow to himself not to go on anybody's show until he accomplished a certain goal.
Then
he went and
cheated on
somebody
us.
Else's show.
Cheated on us.
This super chat,
man, that might
be like a shadow apology because he knows what he.
I remember those guys when they first started out. I remember Lettuce doing his little thing about getting his Avengers 4, I believe, a year or so ago.
I want to set the record straight. There is no GoFundMe for Phil. I do think this is a funny in-joke, but this was that we were raising capital for him to get himself a copy of Detective Comics number, what was it, 35? So just to be clear, Phil's fine. He doesn't need a GoFundMe, but
y'all can do a GoFundMe for me.
It's going to take quite a while. Yeah, it's going to take quite a few donations to get there. Billy Pilgrim, welcome. KK says it's gorgeous here this year. Where are you at, Collecting Chaos? Gorilla Monkey 3K, hello. Archivist Adrift, bless the rain in Texaca. Vulu's here. Welcome. Oh, here's Jason's official statement. This channel is the most important conservation channel, and I don't want to be on it until I get back to Serve Comics. I think what he means is he wants to get work back from CGC in the conserved label, sort of validating his professional, the quality of his work. So,
Collecting Chaos will be up in Dallas in November. There
you go. Between Fort Hood and
where Waco is.
Waco, it's like halfway up there to Dallas for us.
Yeah, about halfway. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
For me, about halfway to Dallas for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
It's on that side, yeah.
All right. Well, without further ado, I think that's all the hellos and the thank yous. And let's jump into this book. It should be fun.
Man.
We're doing our recurring segment, what are conserved comic books worth? This one's a fun one, huh? Anybody in the chat own this? I'm guessing 0 for 1.
That'd be a facsimile.
But somewhere. I don't know. I mean, there might be some whales in the chat. Yeah, cool book, huh? For those of you that somehow don't know, Detective Comics number 27, first appearance of, he's called the Bat Dash Man in this issue, even though it says the Batman on the cover. First Commissioner James Gordon as well. It features a sort of prototypical Batmobile. You see here he's got a red coupe, sort of looks like a Duesenberg, probably, with a custom body, Bruce Wayne, of course, but he does have a little bat hood ornament. So very mod, actually.
Very long hood. He may be,
that's what they would say is that's a doozy. That's where that saying came from. Yeah, it looks like a Duesenberg. Looks like a custom coach Duesenberg to me. But anyway, I don't know. I consider this probably the second most important comic book ever published. I think you could make an argument why it ought to be the most valuable, but even if it does overtake Action 1 for most valuable, I don't think it's ever going to be more important. Just because I don't think this book necessarily happens without Action 1. So, Tech 1 was already around, and they weren't doing anything like this because this sort of stuff wasn't really selling or wasn't really a thing yet. So, anyway, obviously, one of the most important books of all time. We have talked many times about the use of the term Grail, Holy Grail, and I've made my opinion known that it's an overused term, that I personally would never use it for a book that has 10,000 copies in the census. That's just where I'm at. I get where, and again, I want to reiterate, I'm not hating on anybody's quote unquote Grail. I think whatever you enjoy is capital. That's awesome. I just personally think we overuse the term Grail. Here's CGC Universal Census counts, where you see some of the most important comics of all time and how few copies there are known to have survived. Action 1, fewer than 50 in Universal. Tech 27, fewer than 40 in Universal. All American 16, fewer than 35 Universal. These are grails.
Yeah, I remember in the 80s when I had my store and you read Overstreet, and back then, expensive comic was Action being probably 20,000, or something like that. And it talking about that it was considered probably the most rare book, like less than 100 probably existed. I think it's a little more now, but like you said, if you look at just the universal grades here, it looks like to me Detective and All American are a lot lower. However, I do know of at least 2 Detective 27s that are not graded.
Yeah. There's at least one action one that's not graded.
Yeah.
But yeah, the presumption is these are all valuable enough that most of them are slabbed. There's a few
Yeah.
whales that prefer their books raw, and they can afford to keep them raw, right? And so we know that. And I don't think All American 16 is more important than the other two books. Certainly an important book, but the other, I've shown this before, but sort of the next tier of grails, these ones have greater than 50 in the census. Or they're right around 50. Flash 1, Marvel Comics 1, Pep 22. And then here you still have grail status, in my opinion. There's still fewer than 100 of these in the world. So, if you want a copy, you're competing with many people for fewer than 100 copies. That's something that might take you a lifetime to chase down. The idea of the Holy Grail is that it takes an entire lifetime dedicated to chasing it down, right? And this is the argument I made. I could go right now, if I decided that I wanted to own 100 copies of Hulk 181, I'd just get my credit card out, and by midnight I could own 100 copies. That's not true for any of these other books, right? And for me, that's the difference. But next tier that I still think are grails, but these have over 100 copies in the census. Cap 1, All-Star 8, you could put All-Star 3 in that category as well. Sensation 1, you could put Wonder Woman 1. There's many others. This is just a sampling of the books in that tier. These are sort of tiers for me. The first one being the top tier, the next grouping, and this one being sort of gradations of tier 2. But at any rate, to put this book in perspective, 38 Universal is what I pulled from the Go Collect today. 81 all copies, including the 41 restored. And this, of course, is just CGC, so you do have copies potentially. I know for a fact with this particular book you have copies with some of the other graders, but nevertheless, Grail. I was kind of surprised at how high the median grade is for this book, Shelby.
It is. That's
5.0
one.
Yeah. Much higher than the median for action ones.
It is. Yeah, it's around that 6-7 mark.
And by the way, that's only the Universal, so it's not, you can see the sort of median grade for restored looks like it's around a 7. That median grade I'm providing is only for the Universals. So I guess the ones that did survive, for the most part, survived pretty well. I mean, that's great. This book is old.
It's old.
1939.
Yeah.
Obviously, in that pre-war era, really almost more like a pulp than a superhero comic.
I can't believe no one's ever gotten one signed.
You have one JSA. What do you call it?
Okay, I see it.
JSA verified.
I keep forgetting that's now.
Yeah.
No
witness signatures. Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know when
Bob Kane died.
Bob Kane was still around when CGC was a thing, but I don't remember when CGC started their signature series. I mean, CGC's almost 25 years old, but I don't remember when they started signature series. So it may just be that Bob Kane was no longer around to sign this book. And of course, this book is an anthology series. So the first story is a Batman story, but it contains many other stories. The comp for this book is back in 2020, a 7.0 sold for $1.5 million. I don't know what that book is worth today. You guys want to speculate? You want to speculate, Shelby? In 2020, a 7.0 is worth $1.5 million. What do you think it's worth today?
I'd say
Universal.
I'd say the same, because 2020, that was COVID time, so we think we know we saw some inflated numbers. So I would say this book probably hadn't gone down, but it's probably stayed the same.
I think there's been a little bit of price appreciation
You think so?
in Golden Age since that time period.
I agree with that, but
the grails, the true sort of, the whale grails, these do tend to appreciate a bit more than the market. I wouldn't put a big premium on it, and I wouldn't call you crazy for saying you think it's still worth 1.5, but I think I'd put it where Don Carter puts it, 1.8.
Didn't we just have one that tried to sell?
I don't know about that. But I'll say one other thing. If you think about 2020 and where other risk assets were and how much inflation we've had since then, which means we've had deflation of the dollar since then, I think that's a good argument for saying this is worth more. Bitcoin is worth more today than it was in 2020. Things like that would give you a sense for whether or not this is appreciated. So I think it has, but unless it comes up to market, it's hard to say. We're speculating. So rather than speculate, I thought I'd ask the group what they thought, and I just put this up as a placeholder for the most recent comp. Obviously, with 38 Universal in the world, they don't come up for sale every year. They certainly don't come up for sale in the grade that you're interested in every year. So we knew on this one we'd have to kind of be a little bit speculating as to what it's worth. So
I'm almost positive one came up about 6 or 8 months ago on Heritage, and the it only reached 1.2, and the person had a
reserve. I
didn't realize
Heritage. I didn't realize Heritage allowed reserve auctions.
Yeah, they will.
Interesting. Okay. Well, then that would be an argument for it being right around here, right? Sales Boy, welcome. Hope you're keeping it moist, my man. Sean Crowell, welcome. Good to see you here. I like all the guesses. Yeah. Everywhere from...
And there may be a difference between
1.2 to 2 million we have.
Yeah, what we feel like it's worth and versus what the market can afford.
Yeah, of course.
It could be 100% worth 1.5 all day long. It's just no one in the market can afford it. Now, that doesn't mean that, your high bid of 1.2 means that's what it's worth. That just means that's all the market's going to allow at the moment.
Just means you didn't have a counter bidder at that moment, right?
Yeah, and
So here's our book that we're going to try to figure out today. Graded in 2024, 1 year ago. Interior reinforced, cover cleaned, interior lightened. Conservation includes tear seals to interior and cover, spine split sealed to interior and the cover. First Commissioner James, Jim Gordon, first appearance of Bruce Wayne, the Batman. You've read this story, Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
I think
one
of the fun things about it is, as you're reading the book, you don't know for sure who the Batman is. It's not revealed until the end that it's actually Bruce Wayne. You see Bruce Wayne, you see Batman, you see Commissioner. Bruce Wayne is friends with the Commissioner. It's pretty interesting, actually. Even though we don't get an origin, it's still a pretty good introductory story. Grader's notes indicate wear and stresses to spine, light spine creases, light soiling on spine of back cover, light reader's crease, full right of back cover, small tear top of whole book. If you're conserving the book, why don't you seal those tears? Hard to say.
And I'm a little confused by their weirdly long label text here, right? Because it gives all these other things: interior reinforced, cover cleaned, interior lightened. Then it says conservation includes tear seals to interior spine split sealed to interior cover. Well, wouldn't all that be indicative of the reinforcement? I'm not positive why you put that in twice, and then why you don't put cover cleaned Well, I guess we do know because
Shelby.
Matt's made the distinction that cover clean doesn't necessarily will give you a conserved label. So they specifically, I guess, call it out separate.
They do specifically call that out. I do think this is overly wordy, but
Yeah, it is.
we know that they basically, the graders have drop down menus to populate, and they don't always get dropped down in the most sort of logical order, I think, when they get included. But
yeah, I agree, and we know
they're
that
working on it.
They use a software where they click and it automatically puts it in there. But I'm with you. I mean,
so here you see,
I don't see the creases, and I also don't see the tear across the top.
Well, sometimes you can have it, especially in these Golden Age books, you can have a heavy crease that clearly breaks paper fiber, like on the back side of the paper, but the inks are so thick they don't break ink. And I suspect that's what we have here. You see the two dark smudges there to the left of the C in comics, inside from the staple. That's called out. Whoever cleaned the cover did so very conservatively. These colors are saturated, right? And so I could see why they stopped short of trying to deal with these two black smudges.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You don't want to lose any of that red.
Yeah, I don't want to call that.
But look at those corners. I mean, this was a good book to start out with, right?
Oh, yeah. You can see some blunting on the bottom left corner. Yeah. You can see a spine tick above the one Hood's hat on the left. And you see an abrasion in his red jacket there. I mean, this says 7.0 to me. But 7.0, I mean, in a Golden Age book is something to behold. Beautiful paper quality.
Beautiful.
Really nice book. You can see here on the back cover along the spine some of the stress lines, and those I think, Shelby, you can see in the middle of the book.
I see it at the top middle. Yep.
Either that's the tear they're mentioning that goes through most of the book, or that's a bad crease, right? Not sure.
I thought it was one of my chest hairs.
Oh yeah, that popped off when you were grading the book.
Yeah.
You could see here on the back.
You can see the seal at the bottom.
Yeah, you can see there was a tear there that was sealed, right? And again, you can see some general soiling /
and that soiling is hard to get off of those spines. Trust. I mean,
I think this is
with it.
Almost certainly this probably had a severe spine roll.
Yeah.
And that soiling was actually kind of presented on the top of the book because of the spine roll. The spine roll's been corrected, and now that soiling's on the back of the book. But yeah, that's a dust shadow from being basically on the top of the book for 80 years, 90 years, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but come on, overall, a stunner.
Amazing.
An absolute stunner, right?
Amazing.
And I don't know what it's worth. It's offered right now on Heritage for $1.5 million. So the owner of this has put it up and said, basically, I dare you to come take it from me, I suppose. Or the owner of this has put it up and said, I think the Universal's worth $2 million now, or $2.5 million. Sure. And this is a reasonable discount to the Universal now, because we haven't had a Universal sell in about 5 years. I don't know. I'm kind of interested what you think, what the viewers think here, because I don't have a strong opinion on this one. Frankly, where are you going to find a better looking copy of it? Right?
Like I said, even if you take out the reinforcement to the spine, look at those corners. The corners are still so crisp. I see very little creasing, if any, really. It must be super light because I don't see a subscription crease.
Yeah.
So it's not like you started out with a bad book to begin with.
Well, it wasn't a subscription crease, right? They didn't have subscriptions yet. It was a reader's crease.
Reader's crease, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then it could be over on the edge there.
Right. That's the way I read it.
I was thinking center. Yeah, you're right.
I read it on the edge.
So
what do people think?
So I think the conserve doesn't necessarily matter. You know, all they did was we do know it's clean. We do know that it says the interior lightened.
Yeah.
So does that mean a calcium hydroxide bath that removed tannins that lightened it? You know, I'm not positive of that, which then that means you've done something good for the comic because you've now increased its lifespan.
This is what I'm saying. You know, I could see the argument here that if you had documentation of what was done, that this should be worth more than a run-of-the-mill copy because it's been deacidified and you're good to go for a couple centuries rather than it's something that is kind of a ticking time bomb in terms of disintegrating. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I suspect it's not 1.5. I mean, this has been offered for I don't know how long, but no one's hit the buy now button. For what it's worth, they did say you could make them an offer. So, Jason, maybe check the couch for some change. Maybe they'll wheel and deal here a little bit. I was wondering, and we've talked about this before on the channel. I want to say it was way back in the first 10 episodes. What is the most valuable conserved comic book in the world? And I believe that the highest sale is still this book.
Yeah, it's still the Superman one. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
This Action 180 conserved, which sold for, well, before we reveal, I suppose, tear seals to cover, spine split sealed to cover, cover cleaned, cover reinforced. Very similar work done here.
Very similar.
I'll go through the graders notes in detail. Cover cleaning. And this is the difference too. This particular one was
the graders notes are given the A1, but we also know that
that's because this was graded back in 2017, Shelby.
Exactly.
So it was new.
But we know that nowadays, for it to be in the conserve label, it has to be A1. So that's just known now. It's just.
But you will still see it in the notes sometime.
Yeah. But you're right. It's got the same little creases, a little rub. Yeah. The other one didn't say anything about chips. So that blunt corner, like we're talking about.
Yeah. Reinforcement to cover. And again, they go into, because this was 2017, they provided more detail then. Archival material, high quality. This is before Matt published his book. Now, with the sort of disclosure of what all these things mean, they list quite a bit less in the grader notes.
Yeah.
Spine split sealed to cover, archival material, high quality, top A1. Tear seals to cover, archival material, high quality, right top back cover A1. Light crease, left center of front cover, light spine stress lines, multiple rubs, center of front cover, small chip out of bottom of spine, small chip out of top of spine, very small stain, top of front cover. Okay, so again, we featured this book back in the first 10 episodes. So I didn't do anything here more than just to remind people, and then to say this one sold for $461,555. That included the buyer's premium. And this one sold back in 2017. So what is this worth today? This is still, I would say this is, I guess to me, obviously worth more than the 7.0 Tech 27. But I also think since 2017, this book's probably gone up fourfold.
Yeah, I was going to say a minimum of threefold. But
I think this if this came to auction again today, I mean, it's
I don't see it under
at least 1.5, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
I
for
don't see it under
sure.
1.2, but I would think 1.5.
So then you look back at the Tech 27 and you say, I don't know that it's crazy to ask 1.5, but again, I don't know that it's going to sell there. Thoughts?
I see a few people kind of lowering their.
Are folks talking about this Action one?
No. I think they were still talking about the Batman.
Batman. Oh, Jason says he will sell his firstborn.
Yeah.
I mean, that ought to get you most of the way there. I don't know.
I
haven't met your firstborn.
Depends on how much the parts are worth, man. Got good kidneys, good liver, maybe, but
Well, no concrete answers in my A segment today, only questions. So I hope everybody enjoyed that, and everybody can speculate. Everybody's an expert. So let us know what you think. Again, I think the 1.5 isn't crazy, but it might, if it came to auction, it might only sell for a third of that.
I think it's a little cheap,
half of that.
But it's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book.
But also, unless you need the cash, which probably you don't if you bought that book, you don't need to fire sale it, right? Put it out there. Force somebody to take it away from you. So good for the owner. I applaud the move of posting it.
Yeah, and like I said, you started with good bones with both of those, because we know that you can press books, but you're not going to get out spine, corner creases and things like that. All those corners look sharp. That's the first thing I was looking at. The spine looks sharp, except for that one area in the back. So, and then you get into the idea of if the conservation is maybe noticeable. I mean, since it's all done on the inside, you're just doing reinforcement from the exterior. It looks just like a universal book, right? So it's not like something that has been blown out, leaf casted all along the edges and stuff,
To your point, very true. And in fact, think about it. These books were ideal for conservation. Book.
Look, you and I might have talked about that. Like these, if you do not, do some kind of deacidification, those books are just freaking turning to dust inside those.
Sure, okay. But I'm speaking more to the fair market value of them in terms of like the split spine. Sure. You try to keep that in a universal. What are you at, a 1.5 or a 2 or 1.8, something like that? And you can repair that correctly, archivally, and get you a 7 or an 8. I mean, those books were perfect for conservation. Those were not, like, for example, those are not good candidates to unconserve, in my opinion. We've seen some books that were good candidates for unconserving where it wasn't the best financial decision to conserve the book. But I don't think that's true for these two books. So to that point, tip the hat of the conservator and the owners who made those decisions, and a couple of great books. It was fun to look at them and do some research and put together what I thought was an interesting story.
The two most important books in comic history. I mean, who cares about first Green Lantern?
I mean, I do, but
I know you do.
He's only got like 8 appearances before Doiby Dickles shows up. I mean, what's with these corny ass sidekicks, man? Okay, well, I don't know if we had anybody new showed up since I did my shout outs to everybody. I don't think so. So I think we can go right into the segment you put together.
Yeah. So since I've been moving, I haven't had a chance to do any kind of conservation, but y'all know I'm a researcher. So something I've just been wanting to do, because we've seen that Delta shift over our last, I don't know, 10 or so shows between what FMV is, universal FMV, and conserved sale prices. So we've seen that percentage shrink. And so I was just kind of curious today when Paul and I were talking yesterday. I went ahead and just did a search on eBay and looked at the last 3 months of eBay sales for CGC conserved graded books. I came up with
a couple of these are ones we featured in our A segment, but this is
a couple of them we have featured.
But this is gathering all the data in a more comprehensive way, where I'm really cherry picking ones that I think are interesting.
Yes.
So this is a more comprehensive view of the data.
Yeah. So if we go to the next slide, so I think I ended up, okay, so here's my methodology. I think I just said most of this. Examine all conserved grades for the past 3 months, which is June to August. I did not pay attention to the type of conservation. I do feel like that sometimes what that type of conservation is may influence what that last price is. Although I have run some statistics on that in the what's her name? When she sold her collection, it's in our book.
Oh yeah, Christine
Farrell. Thank you. I did pull out about 6 of her conserved books that had sold, and I broke it up into categories by type of conservation, because a lot of her conserved books just said cover cleaned.
Yeah.
I found no correlation between percentage, the percentage difference in sale price and the type of conservation. So I don't know. All but one was CGC. There was a CBCS. There were no best offers, although Paul and I were talking today. The first one, which is a showcase, it showed it as a sale price, but when I went and looked at the original listing, it was a best offer. So I don't think it sold for that much. So I'll give a caveat when we get to that. It was a mixture of sales and auctions. And then my methodology was I calculated the average of sales versus the average FMV as per Go Collect. So I didn't go across, I went down.
Yeah. So Shelby, you and I didn't talk about this, but I think eBay is displaying best offers differently in the last month to the way they used to.
Oh, then they did. That would make sense, because this one was just on like August 18th or something.
They used to sort of have a line through them indicating like it's sold for less.
Yeah.
Now they're just green, and you need to read the metadata or use one of the other websites that scrubs the metadata.
Yeah.
But that's a fairly new development. I had to own that last week before last.
Yeah. All right. So here's the books. We ended up with 17. I believe books was a really nice sample size. 17 sold books. Like I said, that Brave and Bold up there at the top. And this goes from most recent sales down to way back in June, which the Justice League, I think you showed.
We featured the Justice League #1. We also featured the Superman
Superman 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of great books in this catalog here. So, a couple of really nice ASM through the ages. That Demon #1, Iron Man and Submariner #1, Fantastic Four #4, and a Fantastic Four #5. 2 copies of X-Men 50, Fantastic Four 56, and X-Men #40 with like the Frankenstein cover, and a giant size X-Men #1.
Yeah, I see the.
So and there's one, and there's one ACA book, Forbidden Stories. Is that it? Forbidden Worlds #1. So a really good. So it's also only one Golden Age book in here, which is Superman. Most of the rest are Silver Age and then Bronze Age.
Mm-hmm.
So, and very few Bronze Age. You can see, I think, really the Demon. And
You don't consider the Forbidden? When is the Forbidden Worlds published?
that was in 1950. I looked it up. I think it's 56.
Okay.
It was earlier than I thought. So it's on that cusp of what you could say.
Sure. Yeah.
Golden Age.
I mean, it doesn't. The reason I'm asked is I don't see a. I mean, we're in the weeds here, but I don't see a Comics Code Authority on it. So I personally would either call it atomic or golden. But
yeah.
I
think the Superman 243 is a Bronze Age, but the rest are silver.
Sure. So. Yeah. I can't see that book now and not think about Chris Trump's work on that book and all of the developments that came from it. Shout out to Chris.
All right, so let's look at the fair market values for these books. So at the top was most recent sold. At the bottom was sold near the beginning of June. So I didn't sort it by like alphabetical or anything like that. I was leaning towards silver too on the Forbidden Worlds, Jason. It just feels like it should be silver to me. But like I said, I did look up the date. I want to say it was 57, 56 or 57. So it was a little older than what I thought. The most expensive book on here is the FF5. Fair market value for 3.5 is 5.5 thousand. The Superman 2, which we have featured before, FMV is 4,400. JLA number 1. For 6.0, $2,050. You wouldn't believe how many of those I've seen in my life.
Yeah. These are all universal values, of course.
Yeah, they are universal. Mm-hmm. And we have some all over the place as low as $13 FMV for the Brave and Bold. All the way up to 5,500. So it's a very broad range of values. Now, what happens statistically by having such a broad range of values, you're going to have a pretty high standard deviation if you try to do any kind of statistics. That's the reason why I decided to go with a group average versus an individual thing and then doing an average of percentages. Sure. I felt like that was more appropriate because it reduced, of course, it didn't really reduce my standard deviation. Standard deviation is what it is, but you could have some regression to the mean issues. I didn't look at the skewedness, kurtosis, but just looking at the values, I'd expect it's probably going to be a fairly normal curve. And the median would probably be somewhere around that 600, I would think, or 300. All right. So any guesses of...
Oh, yeah.
This would be percentage. This would be percentage. So if you think of like 100% and the percentage difference of these selling as conserved, like you think it's 30% lower, 40% lower.
So guesses should look like this: minus 10% or plus 5% or minus 3% or minus 40%, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
That's what the guesses should look like. So let's have guesses. What do you think this? So this is the last 90 days worth of conserved comic books, slabbed conserved comic books on eBay, and what percent discount to universal fair market value did they sell for? There we go.
There you go.
Our players know how to play. Morris says minus 45%. You Pluck My Last Nerve is at minus 30. Collecting Chaos minus 20. Jason's at minus 15. Don Carter's at minus 30. Salesboy Comics is at plus 20. He thinks they sold at a
increase. Oh boy.
At a premium to the Universal.
I'll be honest, is when I first did this, one, I was very surprised and delighted at the number of conserved books that had sold on eBay in the past 90 days. Second is I was hoping that it wouldn't be less than 20%, but I was thinking that I would probably see somewhere around 40% discount compared to FMV.
I started the show over a year ago now saying data's all over the place, but something like 67%, something like a third off from fair market value for Universal. And I think Larry started with a bit lower number. He was like half to 2/3. And we've seen books all over the place. We've seen some that did sell at a premium. But generally, I would agree with you, Shelby. Frankly, I would think for books, this is just me, for books that clearly aren't grails, like Demon 1.
A lot of these are not grails.
Demon 1, great book. ASM 55 or 62. Great books. Don't get me wrong. However,
now
those books are out there. I can go get Universal books, right? Like I don't have to buy a conserved book here.
Yeah, you have first Doctor Doom, first reappearance of Submariner, and first Scroll, and I think the Scrolls are in there. Maybe it's just the reappearance.
Scrolls is in 2. Yeah, it's just the first Silver Age Submariner.
Giant Size X-Men 1.
Oh, you've got some big books. Don't get me wrong. Yeah,
you've got the Neil Adams Polaris cover, which is number 50. You got 2 of those. Again, one of those is a CBCS, by the way.
Don't mistake what I'm saying. Great book.
Oh, no, I'm not. Iron Man and Submariner is one of my favorites, and that's a 9.2 conserved.
I know. I noticed the ASM 62 is actually a 9.6 conserved.
Yeah. That one is, I'd have to look back which one is the Medusa cover. I think 55 is Medusa cover for some reason.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there's books here that there are literally thousands.
Yes, you will find them.
Greater than 10,000 in the census.
That's right. And that is one of the speculations we had is why would someone buy a conserved book near the FMV when you could just go out and find a high grade,
right?
FMV,
and this is
or Universal.
We talk about when it's a golden age book and there's 100 copies in the world.
Yeah.
You might want to take a conserved copy because you may not be able to afford a Universal, or you may not want to wait another decade for a Universal in the correct grade to come up to market. For these books, personally, I would be surprised if they're selling, and I think most of our viewers would be surprised if they're selling at or near fair market for Universal. I think some folks dropped the minus, and I was teasing Salesboy, but I'm assuming Vulu, you mean minus 50. I'm assuming Dagny means minus 42. I'm assuming Rick Gomez means minus 27.
And someone mentioned Playboy. There was a conserved Playboy.
There was one issue from 55. Yeah. I saw it,
but I didn't include it here. It had replacement staples, but it still had the rust marks and stuff.
Yeah. But does Go Collect give fair market value for Playboys?
I don't.
My experience is that
looked. I haven't read a Playboy and
no. I know. Issue 1 with Marilyn Monroe is very collectible. I feel like most of the others are not. There's a couple. I don't know. Pick your bunny, Kathy Ireland. There's the one with Trump on the cover. There's a few others that go for a few bucks, but
yeah,
the only real truly collectible one I think is issue 1. Although, how many in the census you pluck my last nerve? Let us know. 53. Did I say 55? Is that the first issue is in 53? Thanks. I appreciate the okay. So he says, yep, own it.
Okay, so the next slide is going to show the percentage difference, and then the slide after that, I'll show you the actual sales value.
We ready? Everybody's got their guesses in.
Yep. Is that crazy?
I mean, I feel like the folks that are listing these for sale are doing some pretty good marketing. I mean,
and I took out the brave and bold, and it only and like you and I talked about earlier, I didn't think it would shift it that much.
Yeah,
it did shift the overall average down to around 800 because there's regression to the mean, but the difference only went up by it went up to 2.79, I think. So it is barely difference.
What do y'all think of that? Basically, these
on average. Now there's a difference.
Basket of comics,
book to book.
Yeah, sold for essentially fair market value.
And it's not a bad sample size. 17 books is a great sample size.
Yeah, that's not nothing.
Statistically, all you need is about 16 data points in order to reach the theoretical normal curve or normal distribution. And we're one over
Shelby.
that.
I don't know if anybody else still has them.
Sorry.
Playboy, I lost you for a minute. You back?
I'm here.
You were talking about the sample size, and you said something about 16.
Oh, I was just saying that there is the in statistics that you around a sample size of 16 will start within the population, random population. It will start reaching a normal distribution. So.
Morris says buyers probably did not realize.
No, I did pay attention to that. All of them said conserved in the title.
In the title, yeah.
All of them said conserved in the title.
I mean, there are still a lot of people that don't understand what that means, but it's not like the sellers are trying to be sneaky if they put it literally in the title, right? So credit to the sellers for the marketing. Gorilla Monkey 3K says maybe we're reaching a tipping point.
I would say it's because of our book, but who knows?
Get your copy if you don't have it already. Go to Amazon. Oh, normally between segments we take a moment and say, give us a thumbs up and tell a friend about the channel. Go check us out on Facebook in the comic book conservation community. Go vote in the YouTube community awards for comic book channels.
I'm assuming Peter.
I didn't say any of that in between our two segments, so I'm saying.
I'm assuming Peter probably got nominated. I think Peter's done some great work over the past year. So.
A lot of channels doing great work. I'm
talking about the year in the whole. I think Jason kind of really just started picking up doing his content like the past 6 months.
Are you rationalizing your vote for us right now?
Huh?
Are you rationalizing your vote for us right now?
You and I've not done any content since last year, and I know you've been. Larry was fewer this year. You were fewer
trying to help the community.
So I think we should be not in the nominations.
I mean, I'm nominated. KK says that supports my view. There's no comic that does not deserve conservation when it's needed. I completely agree with that.
Now, I did not look at
financial reward or not.
Yeah. Now, I did not look at all of them to see what the conservation was. The few I did look at, all were cover cleaned conservation. So it wasn't like seals and things like that. But you wouldn't expect that either with like bronze and the Silver Age. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Jason, for the vote of confidence. There is actually a link in the description to buy our book if you're interested, and we certainly appreciate all the support from all of you. Many of our backers are here in the live chat tonight, and regulars on the channel, regulars in the Facebook group, and we certainly appreciate it.
All right, so if we want to look at a little bit more of the nitty gritty, go to the next slide. So I highlighted in bold the ones that actually went above FMV. A few did. Mm-hmm. The Brave and Bold, which we talked about, but then, like I said, when I dug deeper, the Brave and Bold actually was a best offer. So even if you take that out, there's still quite a few. The Demon #1, I was very surprised to see how much higher it went for.
Yeah.
Same with the ASM 66. We already talked about the Superman 1, and we've already talked about the JLA. The X-Men 50, the CGC conserve grade went for $10 over FMV, while the CBCS conserve grade went for $15 less.
Right.
A lot were really close.
Wait, say that again. I presume that FMV, you have FMV the same on both of them? Is not the CBCS FMV lower?
Oh, I don't know.
You use the CGC value.
I just took what Go Collect had. Go Collect didn't make a distinction of where.
Well, I think you can click on a CBCS tab, although if there haven't been very many sold, then yeah. So actually, really, the fair market value, because it's a CBCS book, is probably lower than the 290.
It is probably lower anyway.
Which would actually help our argument here and decrease to an even smaller margin the discount to Universal. Funny.
Now, I would also say that I don't really trust Go Collect's metrics, which actually would then put some of these values closer to what the conserved actually sold for. I'll give an example. Giant size X-Men #1 at a 4.5, $1,300. I think that's a bit cheeky. I would think that a 4.5 GSX is probably around $1,000.
Yeah, I would expect to pay $1,350 more for like a 5 or a 5.5. I would think personally. I mean, I'm not watching that market like a hawk, but that said, Shelby, one would think that their algorithm probably would err up and down on all of them and probably average itself out, right? There wouldn't be a systematic error due to that unless somehow they've programmed a bias in, which hopefully they haven't.
They may have programming a bias of taking some of the high realized values from Heritage versus scraping sales from like eBay or something.
Yeah. Well, I think
Iron Man and Submariner, even in 9.2, I think 750 is a bit cheeky for that too. So and the Superman 243, I don't think has any. It has a cool Neil Adams cover, but I don't. Off the top of my head, and I did not research it, I can't think of any other distinguishing thing that would make this expensive. So
which book are we talking about?
For 116 confuses me.
Which book?
Superman 243. It is a Neil Adams cover, but
it's a Neil Adams. I think people love that cover. Yeah,
it is a classic.
That said, though, Shelby, to my point, when I did the Superman 2 deep dive, I thought that fair market value was low. I thought we could justify as much as like 8.
I think we could justify the opposite direction with that one.
So I think we're probably it's not productive to look at each line. It's probably just say, hey, you assume that there's no error there that's actually skewing things, that it's that it would average out. Yeah.
So very, very interesting. And as far as like I said, from a researcher, what does this mean? So if you go to the last slide.
Yes, sir.
All we can actually say that this means is that on average, over a 3-month period, conserved books sold really close to universal fair market value. 6 of the 17 books sold for more than fair market value, as reported by Go Collect. The breakdown was 4 of the 6 were Silver Age. And then overall, there was 1 Golden Age and then only 1 Bronze Age book if we went by anything in the 70s being Bronze Age. I think that Superman was on the cusp because I did look up the date. It is a 12 center. So it's a cusp book. Depends on where you think the Bronze Age started. And like I've said before, I didn't see if type of conservation was a factor. The few I looked at, which is around 4, the conservation was cover clean, which is what I would expect to be the main conservation for most.
Yeah, a lot of these are kind of accidentally conserved, right?
Or
there were folks that were trying to get a universal, and
there you go.
Kind of caught
Exactly.
Up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating, Shelby. Thank you for that work. Thank you for your math and applying your skills. Vulu says Jason's new casting table is fire. I tend to agree. KK says waiting to back the next project. I think the next project is packing up the rest of those statues, and we're hoping that your good interviews result in some good offers, Shelby, soon, and that you can get back to work. For those of you that have been following Shelby's saga, just for the record, he was unemployed last year. He was employed though, and then he became unemployed again. So it's not like he's been unemployed for a year. He worked half of that year, right?
Well, writing the book, yeah. I mean, I've been
unemployed. We wrote the book too.
I've been unemployed for 10 months, except for about 6 weeks where I picked up a little contract job. So really you can say, 9 months if you want to. But the next book is written. Paul, we've edited the first 3 chapters. You actually still have chapter 4 that I sent you a while back, Paul.
Oh, do I?
So yeah, we're really just down to editing. We do need some more pictures. I think people have given me things over the past couple of months, and I've seen some stuff.
Collecting Chaos. I don't think that's Lois. In fact, I think it might be the first appearance of that character that he's kissing.
Yeah, he's kissing someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't know if this is sexual or what this is. Salesboy though is happy to give you job.
You
might want clarification on that before.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if he's ever showed his face in his videos. Yeah, he's
on Facebook. You could see his face. I think maybe the idea that you have to see his face before you decide if you're going to take a job is a little disturbing, Shelby. But I mean, man, you do you, bro. You do you.
But he's got cute hands. I'm sure they're supple. And moist.
That's the important thing.
So yes, I think with the great work people have been doing, and Paul and I talked today a little bit, and I gave a shout out at the beginning. Don Carter just doing some great stuff. Jason on his channel, and what I really liked is Peter's work with like the Hulk 180. He said he followed Hay, but really he followed exactly what we talked about in our book. I mean,
that's because I copied Hay.
Exactly. And you just started out with
the Hay 1979 paper of Margaret Hay, I believe.
You can see plenty of videos of Paul or me laying out books on Holotext, spraying them, getting them pre-wet. Paul and I both go into gory details about when you can tell that a book has been saturated completely.
Yeah,
right? Like we go through. It's still white in here. It's still
in conservation
wait on it to get saturated in order to pull that out.
Right, and we published that in conservation circles. Actually, most conservators will even go a step further, and they'll put the paper in the humidity chamber before wetting it, before deacidifying it. I tried to make sense of the rationale for that, though, and it didn't make sense to me. And so I tried it a few times. I didn't notice a difference. I do think perhaps you you get saturated slightly faster, but I don't know that it's worth the trouble. Unbothered Kitty's here. Welcome. Good to see you, Kat. Just hey, Mike, now. The show went off the rails for about 30 seconds. We got a lurker to comment, so we accomplished our goal. Welcome to the conversation. Just hey, Mike, now.
But I know we go into detail about warming the water in order to promote saturation, because I remember us doing the conversion of Fahrenheit to Celsius.
Yeah. And I've been doing some work recently. I want to do some follow-up on the temperature of the water. There's hard data that warm water is superior to room temperature water. Hard data on it. Now, I don't think we went into detail on that in the book. There is only so much room, but I think that warrants some additional research and discovery and dissemination as well. Yeah. But on that note, Shelby, perhaps we should let folks go.
We can.
I think I had fun. I hope you did. I really appreciate the data you put together. I think that was awesome. I think it's always fun to talk Tech 27 and Action 1, and the chat was lively. I enjoyed that as well. And I want to thank
Sales Boy.
I want to thank the sponsors of this episode again, which include Sales Boy Comics, Collecting Chaos, and Don Carter. And then I want to say a special thank you to next week's sponsors, Jason, the Archivist Adrift, You Pluck My Last Nerve, and Collecting Chaos. Thank you all so much, fellas. Thank you all for joining us, whether you're watching us live or catching us on replay. We appreciate you, and looking forward to seeing you again next week. Shelby, appreciate you joining me. Appreciate you putting something together for the show. And everybody. Oh, and Salesboy had to get in there too. Thank you for the super chat. We have 4 sponsors now for next show. Thank you. Thank you, Salesboy. We'll keep it moist. Until next time, everybody, take care of one another.
Peace, love, and